Hey, this is Trucker Bebop here. First and foremost, I want to thank Trucker Steve, Eskimo Sean, and the world famous Rooster, Trucking Rooster, and the Trucker Two Time. Yes, I want to thank both of them, all of them, for getting my confidence back up. For getting my confidence back up to go back in the industry. Yes, I did work for this one company about a year ago. It's been about a year, a little over a year, and it wasn't what I was looking for. It just was. It wasn't for me. All companies ain't for everybody, and it left a very, very negative mark for me in the trucking industry. And I found Trucker Two Time, Eskimo Sean, and Trucker Steve. I think Trucker Steve. I think it's White Line Films. I think it's Trucker Steve. Well, he's got a podcast. If you ain't heard it, you need to hear it. Him and Trucker Two Time both got a podcast. I really enjoy it. Listen to it daily. And if you ain't listening to it, then you don't know what's good on podcasts. I'm just putting the word out there. But they are the one that I was watching their videos, and I'm thinking, they got my, itch back going. And just like the film, I think it's White Line Films, Trucker Steve. Once it's in your blood, there ain't no looking back. Well, I guess that's true. Because, I have two passions. My first passion is I was in the airline industry, still the transportation industry, but you're messing with different stuff. And a little bit, I'm going to give you a little history about me. 28 years old. I haven't got no kids or nothing like that, which, who really cares? I wasn't a born trucker. Truckers not in my family, like it is in most people's. Yeah, my brother's a trucker, my cousin's a trucker, but that's the only one that, my dad, he's not a trucker. And I did 4 years in the airline industry. And, pretty much, I could work as many hours as I can. And then it got slow and I got laid off, so I went to school to get my CDLs. I'm thinking, I'm going to be a truck driver. They're a lot more than just being a truck driver. Your day don't end after you park that truck, or before you crank that truck. Your day don't start. Your day starts when you wake up that morning and do that pre-trip. That's when your day starts. And really, we're the truck driver is the only industry that could get heavily fined or go to jail for working a minute overtime. Don't agree with it. But, with just one person complaining about it, you really can't do nothing about it. I'm not saying truck drivers are cowardly or nothing like that. Don't misunderstand me. We all got the complaints, but we all can't be in one place and complain at the same time to get stuff changed. And the reason they're so hard on the truck drivers is because there's so many people out there doing stuff illegally. Running their logbooks. Running multiple logbooks. Haven't figured that out yet. Don't want to figure that out. When I need to do that to make more money, and I'm not making enough money doing it legal, then I'm looking at finding me another job opportunity. in this industry or another industry, because I've got lives out there at risk. Not only mine, motorists' public lives. They may not look at it like that. You know, they may whip in front of you and think you can stop on a dime because they're idiots. But, you know, still, like I said, I was in the airline industry for 4 years. Got laid off. After I got laid off from the Swissport, which that was doing putting the fuel on the aircrafts. Kind of a neat job. You know, I drove a tanker truck there. Didn't have to have CDLs, hazmat, nothing. So I think that's what really inched me into getting my CDLs going, hitting the highway. So, you know, I'm been soloed out for about a week now. But prior to going to work for Swift, yes, I do work for Swift. And I enjoy working for Swift. For these drivers that says something bad about Swift or something like that, I take it with a grain of salt. Because as long as I'm enjoying my job, then it shouldn't be no one else's concern. You know, yeah, Swift ain't got the perfect record out there. You know, Swift is a big company. But, you know, when I got back in the airline industry, after quitting my last trucking job, well, I tried to get on with Swift. You know, they took me a while to get on with them. Took me a while to get on with them. So, I got back in the airline industry. And I felt like a part of me was missing the whole time I was there. I guess, you know, once it gets in your blood, it's always there. You know, see them big trucks rolling down the highway, knowing you know how to drive one, but you can't find a job to drive one. I know how hard, you know, no matter how hard you try, you just can't find a job. So I got, you know, the airline industry got slow and I got laid off. The day I got laid off is the day I got called for orientation at Swift. And yes, it is true. When one door opens, when one door closes, another one opens. I feel that deep down inside, and no matter what, I'm really enjoying it out here. And part 2 of this video will be about how I was taught. I don't call it trained. You can train a dog, you can train a horse, but I don't think you can train a grown man. That's impossible to train a grown man. You can teach a grown man, but you can't train him. You see where I'm coming from? I hope you do. You know, at Swift they call it mentors. And for you new drivers just coming out of school or just recently graduated and want to know more about the training with Swift, feel free to message me. And, you know, if I ain't mistaken, I heard on one of the Trucker Steve's podcasts, he used to be a mentor through Swift, through MS Carrier. And then he swapped over to Swift, if I ain't mistaken. But, you know, I really enjoy Trucker Two Times and Trucker Steve's podcast. You know, it gives me a light that through all the hardships they are, you know, every once in a while you can have a good time. I've had a good time since I've been out here, but it ain't all about having a good time. It is a job. So until the next video, peace out, keep it safe on the highway, and watch out around you. Until then, I'll talk to y'all later. Be safe.